Hello Evertonians and welcome to another episode of the All Together Now podcast. As you fully know, we're here at the Bramley Moore Pub on the banks of the Royal Blue Mersey. I'm Tony Scott alongside Greg O'Keefe, fresh from Barcelona.
Not that you'd tell.
And David Hughes as ever. And on this week's episode, we're here to discuss, will Friday be the perfect opportunity to show Everton mean business this season with the chance to go top of the league against Aston Villa? Also, why has Everton's defence looked more reliable since that Merseyside Derby? David's going to go through some in-depth analysis on why that is the case. Also, are Everton now going to see the best of our Brazilian playmaker Bernard this season with competition for his place, and also obviously the pre-season he's had too. Marco Silva spoke today about the pre-match press conference, give our thoughts on that, and to wrap up our Aston Villa Everton match preview, our starting lineups and predictions. First up, Greg, fresh from España.
Catalonia, please tell me.
Yeah, indeed. Is going top of the league, it was the first time in 12 years, I think I'm right, the opportunity to do that. Will it set a marker down for the rest of the Premier League?
We were saying when we chatting about it on WhatsApp last night, I think it was last night.
Yeah.
Listen, it's never a bad thing. It's always nice to see Everton top of the league, no matter what the circumstances are, even if, touch wood, it's only after 3 games. I think there's still a psychological benefit to be had from it, isn't there? To see your team up there. And again, as we've said, we've got a reasonable, I'm not going to say easy, but we've got a very reasonable start to the season. So if you can build on that by going top, setting down a marker, and okay, it might last 24 hours, but then you're still in the mix. Yeah, absolutely all for it, and I'll enjoy the league table for a Friday night lager. Maybe it won't be as nice as the Estrella in Barcelona. It'd be fantastic, but let's not get ahead of ourselves, because I think sounds like a harpers of doom, but Villa aren't going to be, I don't think they're going to be an easy side to face at home. I know they've had a sticky start, but I think we've got our work cut out as well. We'll
speak about Villa at the end of the podcast. David, it's been at top of the league, that carrot dangling for us. Imagine the Evertonians there in the away ends, huge clamour for tickets. It's going to be some atmosphere there with that, honestly, that top of the league. I know it's after, 3 games have gone, but you've got Manchester City are playing this weekend as well. They've got a tough game. You've got also Liverpool versus Arsenal. One of them two are going to drop points as well. So Everton, with the games that they've come ahead, top of the league, could be in the top 4 going into these winnable games.
Yeah, let's hope we stay there then. Yeah, it is exciting. 12 years, and look, we're not getting carried away. We know that if you top after 3 games, it doesn't mean a title race, but it was 35 games to go with, yeah.
Cup finals.
Yeah, cup finals, yeah. So yeah, it's a big thing, but I think more than anything, it's just about keeping that momentum up, isn't it? Because if tomorrow's, or Friday, it's tomorrow at the time of recording, I should say. I think if you get 3 points there, it's a big win away from home, and suddenly you got 7 points from your first possible 9. Like, that's massive. If you only, if heaven forbid you lose or just pick up the points, it just looks a little bit different to start, considering the team we played. And I think that should be the big thing to focus on. The being top of the league will just be a little bit of a bonus, I think.
I think the majority of Everton fans that I speak to outside the ground, they say that there's some kind of bias against Everton within the national media, especially now we're all heavily involved in the media in our jobs. Greg, what do you think if Everton do win and go top of the league, what do you think the perception will be from the national media that Everton know what this season, they really mean business, and they'll start to mention it more? Because my perception of it has been, you go, why aren't Everton included in this top 6? Why isn't there graphics of us in BT Sport, and why aren't we on there? And I say, well, it's up to us to do it ourselves. Make sure we finish in the top 6, win a trophy, get in the Champions League. It's down to us to make sure that we're in these graphics. Now is a perfect opportunity to do that now, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think we all noticed, didn't we, in terms of the national media and maybe even Sky and all their predicted top 7s and stuff like that. Everton were just about in a few of them, weren't they? I think a lot of media had Leicester finishing above us, and who knows what's going to happen. But you're right, we need to carve our own reputation under Marco Silva in this league. We haven't really got any laurels to rest on in recent seasons, because we have been finishing more or less where people would put us, 8th, 7th, 9th, whatever it is. So we haven't got divine right to be considered a top 6 club. Obviously, if you extrapolate that over the last 10 years, I think we have, but nonetheless, things move quickly in football, and we have fallen off the radar of the national media. It doesn't really concern me that much. I think as Blues, we're used to it, aren't we?
Yeah.
But But it would be nice to sort of put the cat amongst the pigeons a little bit, and not just be top for 24 hours, but as you say, be in the mix for a few more weeks and even a month or so, which let's be positive, it's eminently doable given the fixtures we've got. I'd love us to have another clean sheet. I'd absolutely love it again to be. We are, as you pointed out earlier in the week, we're currently the only Premier League side not to have conceded a goal. How nice would that be if we extend that by another week or so, and and really go on like that? Wolves in theory at home, getting ahead of ourselves, but they're a very good unit. But are at home, the way we're defending, it's going to be interesting. But let's upset the apple cart. Let's try and do that.
David, do you think, obviously you worked with a lot of newspapers down south, what do you think their take will be if Everton do win, go top of the league? Do you think they mean business this season?
I think they will, to be honest. I think we saw it on Monday night football. Both Carragher and Neville tipped Everton to be the side to threaten this season. They had to pick one team. They picked Everton
for the top six.
Yeah. So I think people are standing up and taking note. But I can only really echo what Greg said. Sometimes I find there's a little bit of an expectancy with Evertonians that we should by right be put in this group, and sadly that over the past 5 years or so they haven't really done enough to deserve it.
Flirting with relegation a couple of years.
Well, yeah, I mean, although it never got that bad, there were certainly moments where you thought, I mean, even last season, at the end of January, everyone was thinking, could they be sucked in here? Obviously it got nowhere near that. So in terms of going back to the original question, I think people are starting to sit up and take notice. I think Everton had a good summer that made a few people think they could be there or thereabouts this season. And if you can get 7 points from your first 9 games, it doesn't really matter who you're playing, because the Premier League's so competitive that a lot of people will be talking about the Blues.
Well, in order for Everton to go top of the league, like a lot of averages suggest that they will have to keep a clean sheet. The defence has been really good. David's going to speak about his piece shortly that he wrote well in the Echo this week. Greg, how important has the defence been, considering the changes that we've had to the likes of Kurt Zouma now go and Yerry Mina step in, to keep that record of clean sheets? It's played 6, obviously the 6 clean sheets since that Merseyside Derby, 9 clean sheets from the previous 12.
Yeah.
6 at home on the spin. That's some going, isn't it?
And some of the sides that, as you point out on Twitter last weekend, that we've kept clean sheets against. Fantastic. Look, I have to admit, so far, Michael Keane, we knew it from sort of like, not the full half of, but towards the end of last season, we finally saw the player we hoped we'd signed, didn't we? And he's only getting better in my eye.
Yeah.
Again, I know it's early doors, but I'm really relieved. I think relief is the emotion that there's obviously there is a player in Yerry Mina. After all, he's looking like he can adapt to the Premier League. I hope he can continue that and build on it and start getting a few goals from set pieces that his size and stature demands. More than anything, I think we were all so worried on this podcast. We were saying it, weren't we? That not getting Zouma and then not really having a credible plan B, as it seemed, could come back to bite us. It still could if we get an injury. So let's remember that we're still short in that department. I didn't like the look of Mason Holgate when he came on, I have to say. So, but anyway, let's hope those two are bulletproof until January at least. But certainly the signs we've seen of a partnership between them have been really promising.
David, what is making Everton's defence so strong at the moment? Why is it been so reliable since that Merseyside derby?
Well, a few reasons really. I did say when I wrote that piece, I don't think it's just one particular reason. I think the 17-day break before the derby, I know we had Cardiff, but before then seemed to really aid them well. But one thing I didn't touch on in the piece that I would have liked to have, but you have to eat and sleep at some point, was when you actually look back on what we conceded. We conceded 16 goals from set pieces, as was well publicised.
Most in the Premier League, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Excluding penalties, obviously.
But if you take that off, or at least half it, and then you start thinking over the season, well, maybe the defence wasn't as bad as we were actually. We maybe just had an Achilles heel for so long. Yeah. Obviously, we seem to sort that out in March time, whenever it was that break. But there's a few factors to it, really. I think number one, Everton still aren't getting the credit for being an aggressive pressing side. Everybody thinks of Liverpool, City as sides who really press the ball. there was only City who were more aggressive in the press than Everton last season. I said the benefit of that is obviously...
Really?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, only City were more aggressive. So
Okay.
you look and you think, well, we don't even... Not even touching on the defence at the moment. In front of the defence, you've got the opposition picking up the ball through the midfielders, but they've got players in the face straight away, which makes it really difficult to kind of take that moment to lift the head up and play those difficult balls to defend in against.
Is this all based with Guy in the team? No.
It was, but if you actually look at the side, everybody presses from Calvert-Lewin right the way down. Like the forwards are really important to that. Richarlison as well.
He does work hard.
Bernard. This is something that goes from the front. We don't wait until, say, the opposition comes to the halfway line before to win the ball back. We do it with the strikers deep in the opposition half.
Right.
A couple of reasons. One, it's good for defensively, but also it's a good attacking tool. You know, if you can win the ball in the opposition's defensive third, you know you can
2 passes. You're in,
2 passes you're in exactly. And then you come on to individual performances and you talk about Michael Keane. Thought he's probably the best example of how Everton have improved. He for me has been great. I think he's always been okay in defensive duels, aerial duels, etc. But what I really like now is I feel like his IQ or footballing IQ is really developing. No, he's not blessed with great pace, but he seems to know how to play against pacey attackers, which was his downfall for so long. I think I made a few clips from him against Delafeu against Wolves. He just knows how to position himself against these players. He overcommitted in the past and he'd make it too easy. Now he waits and waits and waits, puts the pressure on them, and I'm just really impressed with how he's turned out. So all these and Pickford as well. I didn't get to touch on Pickford. There's just a mixed bag of things that have all come together and made Everton so solid as to what they are now.
Greg, are we underestimating how important Marco Silva is in all this in terms of actually coaching a player to become a better footballer? We look at a Gisagana guy, arguably had his better season compared to what he's had for most. Calvert-Lewin, Michael Keane, all these players he's made better, and that's his job as a coach, isn't it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. He's certainly made some individuals a lot better, and he's made the team as a defensive unit a lot better. I was interested here. I didn't realise we had the second best press behind City. I would have thought, to be honest, that lot would have been better, but that's really encouraging. It looks like we're carrying on with that this season. And again, that's down to them. Well, it needs the buy-in of the players, but you only get the buy-in of the players through being a compelling man manager, don't you? So for all what we've said about Silva's lack of, I don't know if you like star quality or charisma in front of the cameras, he's obviously got something in the dressing room, hasn't he?
Definitely.
It's getting the maximum from players, and long may it continue. And actually, it's quite exciting to think what he can get from the new lads. So what he can get from Delph, what he can get from Moise Keane,
Gabaman.
What he can get from Gabaman. I don't want to again put like a negative slant on it, but I'd be interested in what you both think of what we've seen in Gabaman so far. It's going to take time, isn't it? But he needs to be a bit more careful on the ball. For me, we're used to Guy who hardly ever gives the ball away, and I'm just thinking, you're giving the ball away too much in that position. And I know it'll take time for him to get up to speed. The Bundesliga is so different, I guess, from the Premier League, but I hope it's a quick learning curve.
Yeah, we see what Moise Keane was like. He came on for 15 minutes last week and was blowing out of his backside.
That's a fitness thing,
though,
exactly.
Isn't it? And I think that will come with Gabaman as well. I think he's a good player, and I think he was getting better as the game was going on. I think it might have been adrenaline and fitness kicking in, etc. But he looked a little bit more sharp than he did against Crystal Palace. I think against Crystal Palace, looked like a rabbit in headlights at times. He was just. I was looking at him.
He didn't think he was going to come on.
Obviously, and he said he wasn't ready. He openly admitted plenty of times during the week he's not ready, but he's there to be called upon. Last week when he started, I think he did. If I was rating him, I'd give him like a 6, 7. He done okay, so to speak. But I think he will get better as the season goes on when he adjusts to how his teammates are going to play, when he's going to get round the pitch, who's Everton's best players. Don't forget, he's had a good week this week. Under Silva, he has obviously he got thrown in at the deep end against Palace. Good week, he came better for it, and another one this week. I think he's got the attributes to be a good player. Why did he's going to take us to that next level? I think remains to be seen.
I'm not concerned in the slightest. I think tough start, but Am I right in saying he didn't play any pre-season games at Everton, did he?
No.
When he moved.
No.
So this is his first 2
This
games.
is like a pre-season, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah. It's tough. So
It's like that for Bernard, wasn't it, last year as well?
Yeah.
So I'm still really happy with that signing, and I'm pretty excited about what he'll do.
In terms of the defence, why is it all of a sudden changing in terms of the zonal marking? Because we went on, remember last year, Greg, and we in depth about why we're conceding from so many set pieces with the zonal mark. Now all of a sudden it just seems to have changed as the penny finally dropped with the players.
Potentially, I mean, I haven't looked at how we line up from corners this season, but zonal marking is an effective system because I get there's flaws to it, of course there is, but the thing is with man marking, I know everybody says, well, you have your man, you lose the mature faults, but that means nothing if you conceded a goal. It doesn't matter if you can go, well, it was your fault because you still
won down.
Yeah. I think zonal marking, when implemented correctly, is the better system. Everton have obviously been drilling on it, and it took a while to come in place. For the penny to drop, as you called it. But now I think it's working. They have a formula, they know what they're doing, and I think Silva is very good actually from set pieces. I know we said he mustn't be doing anything. I disagree. I think I've touched on these before on my Instagram page, on Twitter. I don't know if either of you seen them with the throw-ins against Arsenal and Man United.
The flick on.
Yeah. That is basically, for anybody who didn't see it, it's hard to describe over podcast, but they were Richarlison's overhead kick it looked as if it was almost a result of improvisation in the attack in the box, but it was actually a well drilled set piece that they've done a few times, and I think it demonstrated that through the week. He obviously is working on set pieces, and I think that's probably why now we're starting to see the benefit defensively as well.
In front of them has been obviously Morgan Schneiderlin. Now Everton have lost 2 games over the last 13. He hasn't been involved in any of them. Is this another part of it, why Everton's defence has been so strong?
It was initially. I said in March I said that. He come in against Cardiff and just done everything right, and this was when I was pretty critical over Gomez about his defensive capabilities. I think they've improved now, to be fair. But Schneiderlin come in and done exactly what we needed, sitting in front of the defence. He makes the simple stuff look simple. He does the less glamorous work. He'll break down, he'll read the opposition attacks, break them down, and just recycle the ball. And this is why I think he's still got a place in the side. Certainly initially at that Cardiff Liverpool games, I thought he was important.
I'm glad we didn't sell him as well. I think if you want that depth of squad to try and break into the top 6, I think you need to keep. It's obvious, but 2 players of good quality in every position. So to have him as a backup for me is important. Say backup. I mean, obviously he's going to be playing, and rightly so. But you don't let players like that go really if you want to compete. I don't think. Well,
it'll be interesting to see if he starts tomorrow, won't it? One of our better players last week was Bernard. Arguably the man of the match. I think he got Everton's official man of the match. He was one of Everton's better players in my opinion. Do you think, in terms of for him this season, do you think that the pre-season has done the world of good, or now all of a sudden there's competition for places? You've got Iwobi in there. Luca Dean could even play left wing, couldn't he? Baines can play there, Delph can play there, but Iwobi now signed. He could obviously, that's his place. He can play as a number 10 Iwobi. Now Bernard has got serious competition. He only had Lookman last season, to be fair, didn't he? Now Iwobi's on the scene. He's got proper competition this time around, hasn't he?
Yeah, I don't think that's what's caused him to have a good start to the season. I could be wrong, but I think it's more a case of, like you initially hinted, that he's had the full summer. Did he go to the Copa America with Brazil? He didn't, did he? No. So he had the rest. Whereas obviously Richarlison didn't. But he had a proper break. He settled in, hopefully, into life in the Northwest now. He's settled into the club, definitely. He seems a part of the dressing room, doesn't he? A popular figure. I just think he probably feels at home, and we're seeing the benefits of him being settled and fully fit and up to the pace and the physicality of the Premier League. And I think his goal was just rewards for that. He needs to add more goals, doesn't he?
One
definitely.
goal last season wasn't good enough, was it?
And so he's going about it the right way. He's shooting, which sometimes you've been frustrated watching him because he's worked his way into good positions and he hasn't looked like he's going to back himself. So pleased to see him back himself. All right, it wasn't the cleanest strike in the world, and it took a little deflection, but it doesn't matter. It ends up in the back of the net. It was a good run, and you know, even if it hadn't took a deflection, it was kind of like it was a decent effort. The keeper could have done a bit better, maybe, but you back it, you have a go, and he's got his goal, and I hope he gets more.
I think that shooting point's a very good one, actually. You know, his goal at West Ham was his first shot on target in the Premier League.
Bloody hell.
Last season, yeah.
So
great goal that as well.
When was that
wasn't
again?
it?
that was in March, April time.
March, yeah. Great goal as well, the lead up to, wasn't it? Coleman down the right.
Well, it was a good performance, wasn't it? Yeah, he's a strange one, Bernard. I think he's at risk for me this season.
Yeah.
I really like him, I do. But I think Everton have invested quite well in those positions. And
I think Iwobi?
Potentially, yeah. Although Iwobi probably has a case to go in the middle for Sigurdsson. Depending what formation, you know, of course. But I think if we're talking solely on wide plays, Iwobi can go in there, yeah. And what I like about him is he has a good partnership with Dean. I think they work really well together. Probably the closest thing we've had to a Baines Pienaar type thing. But yeah, his output just isn't enough, sadly. You know, we need a little bit more out there. He can go invisible sometimes. So yeah, big season. Okay, it was good to. I mean, even on Saturday, okay, he gets the goal, and he had his moments, but maybe I'm being too critical. It's one of those positions, the wing on the wing, isn't it, where you drift in and out. But I still don't think it was an unbelievable performance by him. Maybe
No, it wasn't. I think it was because it was just a typical. Do you know what it reminds me of? A Moyes type performance. He just grinded a 1-0.
I was going to say, yeah, you're right. It wasn't an unbelievable performance by the team, was it? Really?
No, it was actually,
but they got the result. They got over the line.
And last year we would have lost that. Or we would have drew.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We just got that win. And Silva did say that. He said last year we would have lost or drawn that. It's important that when we do play bad or just play bang average, that we do get over the line and get a result. And that was important.
That's actually a valid point. I mean, I wasn't really impressed with Everton last week, to be honest.
First 20 minutes I was.
First 20 minutes, but obviously the rest of the game.
The other hour.
Yeah, the other hour. I wasn't. Certainly second half, I thought they were a little bit lucky to get away with it as they did. Not that Watford were tearing Everton apart and creating chance after chance, but it was a little bit disjointed. I think I said it, didn't I, actually, on the little notes that we put out. But anyway, yeah, so big season for them, but good start, and hopefully he can step up.
Can I just ask? Obviously, I was sipping cold lager.
Hold on a minute, were you in Barcelona?
I don't know if I mentioned it, like, on behalf of the Catalan Tourist Board. But you know, unfortunately, talking about big clubs in the media, I couldn't find the Everton match anywhere. So
it is a surprise.
What I want to know from you two is, should De La Feu have had a penalty, and should we have had a penalty? Just briefly.
2 no's for me.
Yeah.
Neither.
Yeah. But what was frustrating is that when you're watching it live at Goodison and then the referee waved to play, he just told Calvert-Lewin, get up, no penalty.
Yeah.
Well, fine, fair enough.
Yeah.
But where was the VAR? Why isn't he going to VAR? So obviously he saw it and he said no. So fine, fair enough. But then obviously he went to VAR for De La Feu's one.
Yeah. I think Everton had a shout, to be honest.
Yeah?
Yeah.
More than Watford.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I was just about to say Watford for me was a blatant dive.
Yeah.
And that got
We've
VAR
seen Jerry do that, haven't we?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And much to my shame, I wasn't there, was I? On Saturday? The only one I'm missing all year. We're not getting into it why I missed it, but I wasn't there, so I was watching it on the on the laptop.
Yeah.
So I saw straight away both of them, replays of each, and for me, Calvert-Lewin's at least deserved a VAR check, and I think that's what they're being given. But De La Feu's no, it was a dive.
It was weird watching VAR at Goodison for like the first time in the league. It was like, what's going on? And it just had like 2 minute uncertainty when you're just checking, looking at the screen. We're 1-0 up, and you're just waiting for like VAR says penalty, and just said no penalty. Thank God for that. But it was just a bit of a mess. And it was interestingly, the VAR monitor is in front of the paddock. Literally in front of the paddock.
Oh, where my dad and Dominic sit?
Yeah. So basically, if the referee is told by obviously whoever's sitting in that truck, wherever it is, miles away, and the referee goes, do you know what? I think it's a penalty. It's up to you if you want to go and check the monitor out. He goes over to the paddock and checks on that little monitor. And I went, imagine that in the last minute of a Merseyside Derby, a night game, and the referee's trembling looking at this monitor. It's going to be insane.
We'll put it that way, though. It's only going to benefit one club in that situation, isn't it?
Yeah,
so
it's mental.
The linesman in the paddock gets imagine what someone going checking VAR's going to get.
Absolutely mad.
It's a strange one at the moment with VAR, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Oh, we could do a podcast alone about it.
You fell for City, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, ironically, as that went in, I said, a complete shit joke it was.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was PG or not.
Right.
I said to me mate, I'm not saying anything here until the VAR check's completed, because I said it in the sense that, but there's no way this is going to get ruled out because nothing's happened.
Yeah.
And then ironically, it then goes and gets ruled out, and they've got to do something for me. It's wrong at the moment. I understand that they've set out the stall and that any contact with the hand is a handball.
But it's a different rule for the attacker and a different rule for the defender.
Yeah.
How can you have one rule for one
under
player?
Under their interpretation, they're saying that Laporta basically controlled the ball into the path of Jesus, which was ludicrous.
It's nonsense, isn't it? Yeah. It's got to be tweaked for me, and it will eventually be tweaked when it happens to enough big clubs who put enough pressure on the Premier League, and we'll see it change.
And if it obviously knocks 3 points off Liverpool or some Man United or City in a big game, next one I've got a funny feeling that'll change.
You're joking on, if it happens to Liverpool, there'll be petitions
and the rest.
Boris Johnson will be getting called.
But interestingly, there's no big screen at Anfield or Old Trafford. It's the only 2 grounds where there's not a big screen.
Trust me, it's difficult because once again.
Why's that, David? Opened his mouth there, didn't he?
Well, anyway, someone
you've done a few United games, go on.
A mate of mine works at Anfield for Liverpool games with the press, and he said it's a nightmare there with the VAR.
Yeah, there's no big screen.
No big screen.
Are they not obliged to put one in?
You can't afford one.
2 of them are skins.
Could have brought the Sandy Road.
2 of them are skins. No, what is it? It's madness the way 18 Premiership grounds can have a big screen, and 2 of the arguably
two biggest clubs
arguably on the planet can't even get a big screen on the
You'd have thought they'd have to. But anyway,
interesting. Moving on, I'm sure we'll speak about VAR plenty of times during the season. Marco Silva's press conference was today about the pre-match for Aston Villa. A couple of interesting notes to come around. Luca Dean is fit. That's a good push. Leighton Baines is fit. Wobie's had a second week in training. He said it's all good. Morgan Schneider's obviously back from suspension too. An interesting one, the talking point that he agrees with Mauricio Pochettino in terms of the European transfer market. It should close when the English transfer market closes.
So does he mean that basically our one should be the same?
Yeah.
Or they should both close when it
close when it did. So right. On this, we were talking 3 weeks before the Premier League started.
Yeah, what was it?
7th of August.
7th of August. 8th of August when it is all closed then, and then that's it. But obviously there's like a 2 or 3 week window since then. Well, we got till September the 2nd, if you remember rightly, for players to be sold. Do you think by him saying that, Greg, do you think he's worried about one of his players actually moving out the door?
I think he's...
Or he's just saying it as a fan base, it shouldn't be the case for a manager to set a stall out that this is your team now and we can get settled.
I think probably, not trying to read his mind, but obviously I would imagine they'll all be satisfied that the Premier League one shut before the season starts, because that was the gripe consistently last season. And you can understand that. It's chaos, and for too long that was the case, that you were starting and these were your plans, and then a top player was buggering off before.
Yeah.
But it's almost like they've compromised, haven't they, by doing that? But obviously they can't federally make the rest of Europe fall into line. So you have got this, and what he probably means is for Everton it's particularly an issue because there are players, some of them are fringe players who we could care less if they go. Obviously your Moraleses and Nias to an extent. Maybe he's worried over Tosin because he mentions Tosin as one of his key options, or not key, he keeps mentioning him as one of his strikers, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And maybe it's like, well, that's the case, but then I could lose him for a bid on the 1st of September, and then his striking pool shrinks then, doesn't it? But otherwise I can't think why he's saying that, really.
No, I don't think. For me, I just couldn't think of a player who's potentially at risk that we'd be sad to lose, Someone like
from a European club as well.
Can't be, can they?
No.
Not now. Unless he's worried about someone coming in with Luca. I wouldn't have thought so.
No.
I think I'd like to know the context in which the question was
Yeah.
asked of him. You know, if he's just asked for his opinion, he's probably just give it.
I was watching it and he did say, do you agree with Mauricio Pochettino in terms of what he said about the European market closing?
And it does make sense. I totally agree with it. Obviously, we said for years it should close before the season starts. I think the only issue is that they start later, don't they, across European football? So you potentially be saying to them, shut your window a week or so.
3 weeks before the season starts.
So would they agree with that? Probably not.
Money talks though, doesn't it? The Premier League are calling the shots and they say to the UEFA or whoever it is that make this decision.
Yeah, potentially, yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see how that one goes. Aston Villa versus Everton tomorrow. The big one, Greg, in terms of Everton. Toffee's going top. Who would you? We said last week, didn't we, about the back four, but back five basically picks itself. Yeah. In terms of midfield, would you bring Schneider on back or play Gabamin?
What about Delph?
Delph's definitely out.
Definitely
out. Yeah, rules out.
Not great, is it?
No.
I would keep Schneider on the side.
Bring back in Schneider.
Bring him back into the side. I mean, sorry. Gabamin, as we've just discussed, doing all right and adapting, but you may as well bring in someone who's tried and tested, especially against side that's just promoted, who players largely haven't played in the Premier League. So you're better to have the more experienced unit rather than like go and match them like for like. You know what I mean? You're taking a chance. So I'd bring them straight back into the side, and otherwise, I wouldn't change that much.
Richarlison.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see this 4-3-3 develop. I'm not sure it's quite ready yet. So I would to answer your question, Gomez, Schneider, and then I think obviously Bernard's done enough to keep his place. Sigurdsson, Richarlison. And it's going to be interesting to see whether Moise Keane's done enough late. I don't think again he will start. I think Calvert-Lewin will. And I'd have to defer to Silva, who's watched them train there. But at the same time, and I'm tempting fate here a little bit, but would it not be a good opportunity to let Moise Keane go against a team that have 0 points on the board? Build his I don't know. I'd like to see him starting games sooner rather than later, but it's only 3 in. I wouldn't be unhappy if it was Dominic Calvert-Lewin, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think my dad was saying to me he's got to start playing this Moise Keane now. Calvert-Lewin's offering nothing at the moment, and
so what do you think?
I just look at his fitness last week, Moise Keane, and after 15-20 come on for the last 20 minutes, was he? Something around that, and he had his hands on his hips after 10 minutes.
Did
he was blowing out of his backside when you could see
but
his
imagine
body language.
The difference from Italy to this.
Of course, and he's coming in, next minute he's getting thrown in, Crystal Palace away, 10 minutes to go, next minute 20 minutes to go against Watford, you holding on for a 1-0 win, chase down defenders,
totally
knocked them off the and he looks a real live wire, and he looks to me as if I was speaking to a couple of the guys that work at Everton that have been watching him at Finch Farm, and he said, you look at him and you go, he doesn't look strong at all. He looks like a little bit of a whipper, getting in and around, underplays legs, next minute's in the back of the net. He says he's so strong on the ball. Yeah, unbelievable for a young lad. So strong.
A few times he just bounced people off.
So that was interesting to see when they were telling me he's dead strong on the ball. I go, let's see him like just having a scuffle with the Watford, and he's pinging them off his chest.
Yeah.
I go, wow. And he'd done more in 20 minutes than Calvert-Lewin's done all game as a threat, as a striker, getting shots on goal, making a nuisance of himself. He was doing everything that Calvert-Lewin wasn't. So I get the point that, but in terms of fitness, it was like he had his hands on his hips and his body language, he just looks out of condition. But that'll come in. He'll get the opportunity against Lincoln next week, possibly. I think that'll be an ideal opportunity for him to start. But I would just go with, as you just mentioned with the Schneider, the tried and trusted. They're just a bit more experience in the Premier League where Villa haven't got that. I'd just start with Calvert-Lewin and then maybe bringing Moise Keane on for a little bit longer.
Yeah, totally agree. I think tomorrow is going to be a very tough game actually. I said to you, didn't I, before we come on, thought I'm just gonna, although I've had a little look at them over the couple of weeks and I've watched them a fair bit last season, I had a little look into the underlying numbers over the first 2 games, and but they went to Tottenham and ended up getting beat 3-1. They were battered, to be honest. They were penned in, but it's Tottenham, third best team in the league.
Took an early lead and were hanging on really, weren't they?
It'd be different if maybe it was level and they weren't holding on to something, but Bournemouth, they were actually unlucky.
Really?
They had more shots on target, more shots on the hole. They had more possession, more passes. Right. They had a higher XG, which basically means they created better chances. So they were a little bit unfortunate to come away with no points. So, Friday night at Villa Park, it's going to be absolutely bouncing.
Yeah.
And
they haven't won a game, lost two.
They'll be up for it big time. And not that there's, I'm not saying there's needle between the clubs, but we had some ding dongs in the past,
classics,
haven't we?
O'Neill and Moyes,
and I think they'll be up for trying to reignite that on Friday. Yeah. So I would like to see. I don't think tomorrow's the time to. We've already touched on this. Implement any sort of tactical changes. I think it's not going to be the place to do it. I think we go in with the, as you say, tried and tested, been Schneiderlin in, try and take the sting out of the game. Have that experience kind of overtake what they're bringing to the table, because I've got a feeling they're just going to go all out first 20 minutes and try and build a lead or get a goal. Just stick to killing the game, taking the sting out of it, and then I think our class will then start showing a little bit then. And as you said, maybe instead of 20 minutes, 30 minutes to go, bring Moise again on and start pushing really for the goals then, the second half. I don't think there's any need for us to go all out in that first half hour. I think just control the game, start taking control, or take it by scruff of the neck as the game goes on. And I think if they do that, they should come away with all 3 points.
Is that why it's important, Greg, that Morgan Schneiderlin starts? Because he's the type of player to just keep the ball for fun,
he's
basic.
Perfect.
Whereas in Gababin, he may have a tendency to lose in a difficult area. Where Schneiderlin just keep the ball, frustrate the home crowd, frustrate the home
5-yard passes.
Just keep it simple. And the next thing I'd say, which is we'll grow into the match. It's important that Schneiderlin then plays, isn't it?
Definitely, totally agree. Are they? I don't know if you've don't put you on the spot as usual. Are they like possession side, or are they going to try and counter, or will we let them have the ball and then try and counter attack them?
So I think tomorrow, last season they tried to be a possession based team, as good as you could be. I think they ranked about 5th in the championship, which was probably around the level of where they were at as a team. They had about 60% against Bournemouth last week.
Okay. And they're a possession side in theory themselves.
Keep the ball.
So there's a good chance that they might try and play around us, but once again that could work in Everton's favour because we are so good at pressing the ball. That's going to probably give us plenty of counter-attacking opportunities, and
we have seen that as the
aim. That's where the goal come from last week. Alright, it wasn't a typical counter-attack, but Dean's played it long over the top for Bernard to chase. Exactly. So he got down the locker, over the top with Charleston, and this is why Calvert-Lewin will be important. He's great at pressing the ball. He's good at holding up the ball, and he'll be an outlet. He'll run into the flanks. So I think he'll have a role to play actually tomorrow, even if it isn't the traditional striker score goals.
Yeah, I'm sure you're well aware of Jack Grealish's long losing streak record in the Premier League. 20 Premier League losses. It is a Premier League record on the spin.
Ouch.
Obviously, we're hoping it's not going to be typical Everton to rock up. We've been there plenty of times before. Greg, you going to give us a prediction Friday night under the lights of Villa Park?
Go on then. Nice, just let me go first.
Yeah, go first.
Pressure's on now. Everton are going to win, and I think it's going to go. Are we going to suddenly start conceding goals? No, I think Everton are going to win 2-1. We're going to probably concede our first goal of the season, but just get the win. A late winner, I think.
David?
Well, their £20 million striker hasn't scored a goal.
There's another one.
So obviously,
there's another one.
So
any more on the locker?
We'll let him have that one.
Grealish assist.
We'll let him have that one, and we'll still put three goals. I think we'll grow into it, and we'll have a comfortable lead. 3-1.
It's amazing how our confidence comes here, because this is a team, Everton, I'm talking about, they scored probably about 4 goals in 7 if you count pre-season. We're not scoring goals at all. But both of us are sat here and we predict the floodgates are going to open. But I actually still think you could be right. I hope you're right. Because we are going to, you've got to hope eventually. And like I said, I kind of learned about the game through you two really, because I didn't see it against Watford. But you did talk about the lack of fluidity in the final third. Let's hope that's been worked on and we do click against a reasonably new to...
I think you're right. Just on that point, I was going to say, I think Aston Villa, in front of the home fans, they're not going to be allowed to sit back
Yeah.
You know, I think
Yeah,
they're going
the crowd won't let them.
Yeah, they won't let them. They'll see this as a game that they've got to win after the first two losses, especially Bournemouth last week. I think they're going to try and attack us, and I think that's going to play into Everton's hands. So that's why I think we're going to be bestowed with a lot more chances to score goals.
Yeah, and I think if Everton score first, I think their heads could go. 2 defeats on the spin last week at home when they arguably didn't deserve to lose the game, and if Everton take an early lead again, I think the fans' frustration could boil over, and it's one of them. I think Everton will go top of the league for the first time in 12 years.
Yeah.
Top of the league going into the bank holiday weekend, more importantly.
Right.
I'm going for 3-1.
Lovely. Talking about heads going, last time I was at Villa Park, I don't know if you were with me, we sat down a bit late, not like me to get anywhere late, but we sat down late. The whole press bench are in the seats, all Sky, the Times of London, the Guardian. I've swiped my coffee and it's been filled. It was probably a grand day if you like this. And it was a river of coffee along the whole bench. It cleared the whole bench, this hot coffee. It was up there with the most embarrassing moments. There's like, Hugh McIlvanney like that. FC. His laptop's gone. So that was my Aston Villa memory.
What score did we finish though?
I don't remember.
You've got a good record down there of late. I've remember boys going down.
Drew, I think it was a draw. Yeah, so let's hope that was more successful for me than last time.
Indeed. So Blues, if you enjoyed that podcast, subscribe to us on YouTube, give us a like on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter. Tony Scott, Greg O'Keefe, and David Hughes. Thanks to our cameraman Ed. Thanks for tuning in.